thank you so much. It's wonderful to be back, as always. It's such a pleasure and a privilege, and I always feel so humbled to be a part of this extraordinary tribe with its commitment. Just hard work and wonderful. Loving being here, and thank you to the faculty for asking me to say a few words. So here they are. And of course, it's always interesting when Stevie contacted me and said, was talking about the theme for today and walking between the worlds, and I thought, which two worlds shall I choose? And so I've chosen the world, the Sun-Earth relationship, the world of the seasons, which is a very grounded, embodied aspect of our art and our craft. And the emphasis will be, or the focus will be, on the way that astrology, when we think of it often as our connection to the heavens and to the stars and to the cosmos and to the looking up, but astrology also puts us in contact with nature and with our natures. And I think that's very, very important. And so I want to look in this talk at the relationship between the signs and the seasons. Ever since the beginning of the tropical zodiac, which Ptolemy sort of advocated so many 2,000 years ago, we have had this strong connection between the signs and the seasons. And this has become very real to me since, after more than 30 years living in London, I moved down to Wiltshire and then subsequently down to Dorset, where the seasons are powerful and the year is marked out with the agricultural tasks, and the community is involved in a very muscular and real way with the seasonal year. And that's taught me, and I'd like to communicate to you what I've learned about the zodiac signs since I have been embedded in the agricultural year. And I find it very interesting to live in this new, much more, I suppose, visceral way with cyclical time, and with the importance of cyclical time, which we know as astrologers. So the first thing I want to say about cyclical time is that it embraces opposites. We know that dark and light, in terms of the day and the year, are opposites. East and west, winter and summer, outwards and inwards. All of this in nature, and in our natures, we're continually breathing in and breathing out. So I wanted to look at let's look at this. This is going back, as I often do, to Dane Rajah and the Pulse of Life. And this is really the context for this talk, is that he wrote that the zodiac is an ancient record of the cyclic experience of the seasons in the temperate regions of the Northern Hemisphere, where astrology was born. So we are talking about a Northern Hemisphere seasonal year, since astrology was born in the Northern Hemisphere. And he says, and this is surprising, I think, to start with, that the essential thing about the zodiac is not the hieroglyphs drawn upon celestial maps, and it's not the symbolical stories built up around Greek mythological themes, significant as these may be. For a humanity which once lived very close to the earth, the changing panorama of vegetation throughout the year was the strongest representation of change. For the inner emotional and biological changes of our human nature correspond very closely indeed to the outer changes in vegetation. Now, as astrologers, we know this, and we have a connection which our culture, to a great extent, has started to ignore. And Dane Rajah says, these experiences belong to the root nature of our common humanity, and are steeped in collective wisdom and organic instinct. Reality has a rhythmic heart, and the dance of cyclic life pulsates through every human action, feeling, or thought. Which I think is, and this is what we're looking at. We're looking at this great Earth-Sun relationship, which is defined by the 4 points of where the Earth-Sun relationship changes. These cardinal points are very important. And the elegant Greek system that we've inherited, very rational, very mathematical, and so we can describe the signs as a combination of element and modality. Capricorn is negative, cardinal Earth, Aquarius positive, fixed air, and so on. But the meat on these bones is seasonal. And the zodiac signs perfectly reflect nature's cycles. So we have, for example, in nature, in ourselves and in the zodiac signs, the generating power of the cardinal signs, which begin with the solstices and the equinoxes. So there's completely a change of direction, a new energy, new beginnings, which come from this change in the relationship between the sun and the earth. And followed then by this consolidation and concentrated power of the fixed signs as the seasons become established. And then as they inevitably break down and the power of those fixed signs becomes distributed in mutable signs, and there's a period of adjustment in preparation for the following cardinal energy. So every quarter is this great drama of energetic shifts, and of course the elements are also extremely important. So we have all those different types of seasonal energy. So fire signs are upward directed, vitality, facing the future, followed by earth signs, which are downward directed energy, consolidation, stability, establishment, manifestation, followed by the air signs, which now goes outward directed energy, connection, communication, and then the water signs, inward directed energy, emotional processing, so on. So we're constantly looking at change. And in the classical sort of Celtic system, then you have also the cross-quarter days, which create the 8 stations of the year. And there's a lovely book by Ron Hutton called The Stations of the Year, which he looks at all the rituals and all of these seasonal rituals, the power of them in terms of the agricultural year. And they're equally important markers to the solstice and equinox points. And the reason they're equally important, apart from being shifts in the agricultural year, is because they mark collective rituals and festivals which have been around for thousands of years. All of these 8 times. And we know this, obviously, from standing stones and so on. That goes back, if you look at Stonehenge, 4,000 years and more. So there's always been a need to ritualize the turning of the year. And these and their agricultural rites, really, celebrating the sacred powers which exist in the forces of nature, and which are believed to be responsible for the generation and renewed ripening of the crops. So in that sense, the festivals were part of a participation mystique between humanity and nature. The purpose of the rites is to have an actual effect on nature and on our natures to ensure a fertile harvest and continued life. And that's what I mean by practical magic.